Okay. Ancient mitzvah with you listen to the call. A tzibur cannot pray a gift prayer at all. Call at all. The ancient tzibur may grieving carbon the double because the tzibur can't bring a gift offering. Elokaitim mizbeach, the only one they would bring it for the like to keep the mizbeach warm or to make sure there's karbanos always on it. But there was is something that's not so common. Because therefore you shouldn't daven Shmoneh, we connect it to opposite this kais mizbeach. Al Yachal is but Yachal is able to give this to pray a nedava. Al Yidei Chodesh Mafil B'Tzibur. Through a Chodesh, and even this is even by a tzibur. Test is from the Achronim. Harotuli spell. Okay. Now it says Harotuli spell feels and done. One wants to give it feels and done. But Zar Shehei Makir has asked me. He has to recognize about himself that he's Zariz, that he's ready to work, V'Zahir and careful, V'Amid, B'Daito and his values in his mind. Shiyuchel Cham is able to tell, is able to intend with Tefillah also in his prayer. Mirosha itself from beginning to the end. Avol Imeinu Yachol Cham Yachol is not able to intend properly. Kareem Bay, Lamali Rose of Chayim, we read about him. Why do I need your majority of offerings? Falavai Shiyuchel Cham Mishal feels like Kavus the Yom. And it should be enough that. Would it be that he would intend the 3 prayers which he has set for the day? So we'll make sure once you get those right, and then you can intend, then you can think about it. But this one, why are you praying so much if you can't even get the first ones? Okay. I wrote to this bound. Wrote to Lama. People who misbound and Zava, I they really shouldn't be praying the Dava throughout the dish. He should still not do it. That's what I appreciate him. He's not so intent. He doesn't intend properly. Ta'u Nanas below his Shachos. He made a mistake or he's forced and he couldn't pray Shachos. Misbound Minchos time. Then he prayed 2 Minchos. Harishon Mincha Vashniya the Tashlim. The first one is for Mincha. The second one is for the repayment. Then we have both Layat Sedei Tefillah. Ashit Tashlumin. If you switch it around, you wouldn't be able to the one which is for the Tashlumin. Zorch Lachal is the Hispalo, so you have to pray that one again. The Hispal Tefillah Tashlumin similar then for any prayer which you have to pay for Tashlumin. If you switch it around, it would be no good. Talk. But also the Fuke Hazel is intent is to exclude if you did it on purpose. Okay, the Lakamim the Sif Zayin is and on Sif Zayin. Mishalu. One doesn't pray because he doesn't have his mind properly on him. After the shalok, it didn't also be even though he didn't do right by this by not having his mind properly on it. Okay, level b'sim kavalef sif alef v'tzadi ches sif beis. Gamakam ein zeh b'kol meid doesn't count as a meid zeh mahani later shlom and it would work as a well. It would work to repay it. So meaning if he didn't pray because he thought like I can't have. So he should have davened, but the mice like it's a noise. Enough to do a Shlomo. Oh, and that's or he was or he's not forced. You go and try a follow sugar, for example, he was sick or he was drunk. Look at the common stuff that class will say later on in class. So the Indian onin, in regards to an onin, Shavar loves man tefillah, which passed the time of tefillah for him and lives an onin. Achav makes before he buried his dead body. I love someone's cut ayin alef sevalef. We'll go there earlier in Simon alef sevalef. Mishnah Berurah and the Mishnah Berurah. The Mishnah is man tefillah. Lo hayah lo mayim. One at the time of prayer didn't have water. Vilchot yadav and to wash his hands. Vayideza avers man tefillah through this past time of prayer. Gam zehu b'chol onis is also included in an onis. Okay, so before Angel Makal Mezid was included, it's from Mr. Sharazim said Pasha. That's Pasha called Mezid. It's not called Mezid to Omer Muzid because he thinks it's Muzid to pray without intent when he doesn't have intent. No, not to pray when he doesn't have intent. This is but I'm going to Avram Sif Kat Yod. What prayer Makam Sif and Yod? Fine. Is this sure? See what I'm saying? I'm praying God. Look at praying God. In the Bible, say for Yeshua's Yaakov. Look at the book of Yeshua's Yaakov. Shavir Rab Berura. It brings a clear proof. The Bezek Huli what everyone agrees. And this is called an ones. If his hands weren't dirty, if his hands were dirty, he didn't have water. Gam Yedei Zehu B'Chol. Gam Zehu B'Chol. This is also called a notice. B'Torah Kakla Kakla L'Yisrael. Shana Adayim, you have to pray afterwards too. L'Chafila Nachal Nevat L'Sfil Mishum Zayim. L'Chafila, it's not proper to skip prayer because of water. And could a little bit Tani base, it says earlier in Tani base, if Dalad of Mishnah Berurah and the Mishnah Berurah, Nine Shama Fair. V'yim Asik B'Tzarech L'Tibur, if he's dealing with communal needs, I am the Elba Sof Simon. Tani Gimel, look earlier in Sof Simon, Gimel, Mishnah Berurah, I'm here, Megadon, look at Megadon, Mishnah Simon, then the Simon Shikosov. The Nachon Shagam Bezei Yisrael Achagach L'Hashem, this is proper even this time that you should pray for Ashlama Tvila, Shechaserula, which you're lacking for it. Mahashlim, you should pray to replace the player with the which you lack. But this you're going to have to do it in the way of an adab and to add something because you really aren't chayav. You really don't have to do it. Tashlumin is just a thing. I mean, okay, maybe you should do an adab just to replace it. Sort of. The lowest found shachas didn't pray shachas. So the evening kriyashma in regards to kriyashma, im ish la tashlumin, physical tashlumin for kriyashma. I am the elbow so simon and chas. Look earlier, so simon and chas. What we wrote there in the Mishnah Berurah. But I look there. The birkas kriyashma and lo tashlumin l'kuli aleph. The blessings of kriyashma for sure doesn't have a tashlumin according to everyone. This is from the Achronim. The Hainu Afilu Mirtul Baruch. That means even if you want to make the bracha, the bless them shit. Beisha kor kriyashma pam acheres. The time when you're making another kriyashma, a second kriyashma the next day. Ibrak said with this brachos. Lo tignin chazal tashlumin el. The chazal only set it up for prayer. We only set up this repayment for prayer. Shiva Kasha's Rachman, which is for asking for mercy, but okay. Even if you want to say the Kriya Shema itself is repeated. Mincha, I mean, I don't know. You have to look at it in, if you repeat Kriya Shema. If you missed it. Mincha, in Kishahu Shlei Al-Tibar, when he's a Shlei Al-Tibar, Yotzi Yedei Shlama, B'mashma Machzer, Atil B'Koram. He's Yotzi Shlama, which repeats the prayer with a loud voice. It's in the Radbaz. And the Yechavim Ba B'Shvil Atzmol, the Tashlumin should intend for this for himself, or to be a Tashlumin. It's in the Eliyah and the Derech HaChaim. No, sorry, this actually, no, this is from the, yeah, it's the Eliyah and the Derech HaChaim. V'gam L'hoti Ba Misha in a Baki, and also to be Yotzi, and when there's not a Baki, and he's using him as a prayer. Shtayim, too. Ve'en Dai Shechavim L'Shmal M'Shlei Tzibor, it's not enough that he should intend to hear the Tzliach Tzibor, let's say it's Ba B'Shvil Atzmol, to Shmuel, to be Yotzi with this before for himself or Tashlumin. Just to use the Tzliach Tzibor's field. It's from the book of Mevarke. Birk Yosef in the Prima God's group, and the Birk Yosef Prima Godim. Bain over Arvis or Shachos, whether for Arvis or Shachos in the Prima Godim. The Lord signifies Sheyetzi Bechazar Tzliach, but they only didn't set up the Chacham, they should be Yosef with Tzliach, we're repeating of the Tzliach Tzibor. Eladam Kamisha in a bucket, only someone who's not a bucket. Mikomakam B'diavad Yatzim Haya Zeb Shvil Hashlamas Shvilas Arvis, and B'diavad still B'diavad B'yotzi, this was for the sake of the replacing Marav. This one, the Shari Chubin, the Magnur, Mishem Havir Yosef. The Alphagab, the Besim, Kavdal, I didn't know when some comes down like Hamelon, the people with the Yavad in Baki Yosef, and Fazar, still Tibur, that we pass, even if the Yavad, a Baki is not Yosef with their repetition, was still Tibur. Miko Malcolm Bezesh, Gila Tashlumin, this one, just for Tashlumin, Bishvil Tila Tarvis for Marv, she Rishos, really a Rishos. So cool, we're going to say, he was even more makel and you could do it and it's okay. But yeah. Harishonim Mencha, you say the first one for Mencha. Kitok Lehaktim Tfilah Shehikovo Shah Tfilah Tashlumin. You have to do first the one which is the obligation for the time for the prayer of the repetition, which is for the repayment. That's for the rush. So you have to do Mincha, which is the real obligation. If you do it the other way, it wasn't his mind. The first one should be for Tashlumin. This one the Dakim Moshe. Well, yes, you wouldn't be Yosef. The Lotik in Rabbanan Hashlam Elam is Mansham Askus, but Tfilah, the Yuvis below Kodlokim. They only set up the repayment one except in the time when he's dealing with the obligation prayer, and not before this. So until he starts the obligation prayer, he's not dealing with that. That's from the Rashba. The question and say you don't have to repeat and do it and redaven. This is from the Magen of Ramataz. Elam came Gila dies unless you reveal his das refers to Tfilas or Shnia he l'shem tchum. What that is specifically that his mind is that the second prayer is for the obligation. Rishon is the shlumen. The first one is for the shlumen. We're going through Motzi Shabbos, for example, to Motzi Shabbos. We have the Shnia below the Rishon, for example, and made Havdalah in the second one, didn't do in the first one. Moshe's bar is going to be clear later on. It's going to be explained. Ulain indeed in regards to the law, because the Prima Gadol says the Prima Gadol and the Prima Gadol in Lanu El Divrei Machaber, you only have the word Machaber, and therefore you would have to repeat. Ulain Hadik Ader Chaim the Halacha similarly to Ader Chaim Hamzah the Halacha, and we come Malcolm Tov Yosef Shabeish or Shachos and Mitzvah Yafka Yomer. Still is better than when the time when he's repeating and repairing his reprayer that he should make a stipulation and say. And many mechuyev l'spal tam shein. This is not obligated to say to pray a second time. Many mispal so b'torah and I'm praying this for the sake of anadava, not for Shlomo. This is from the Prima Gadol and B'prachach Hayadim handed the Gamri Kamagan Avram Atat, especially that the Magen Avram copies over completely like the Magen Avram. So for sure you should make a stipulation. Lo yotzi, you wouldn't be yotzi. Bein sheipech l'mezin b'shovu, whether you did this on purpose or made a mistake. Doesn't matter. You switch the order. It's no good. They didn't set up that way. It's from the Prima Gadol. So we have to repeat it. After mitzvah shein is hashniya l'tashlumen v'arishon l'shem chova. However, if you pray the second one for the repayment and the first one for the chova, yeah. This is from the Tazvach says, I am Prima Gadol like a Prima Gadol. Moshe Kassan the Psak Prima Kadosh. As he says, the Pri Kadosh for the Chaim among Gibor and the Magen of Giborim. And like we said, that those the Psak was. And it's all shinus to the Shlomo Rishon l'Shem Chova. But Tav B'Shel Chova, and he made a mistake in the Chova one below Amr Ba Talamat and Miss Talamater. But often Shitzar has and whether he would have to repeat. Well, in this case, Ad Achra Shatilas Shina do mention that after the second one. Afilu Achra Shnia also the Shlomo. Still, the second one works for the Shlomo Yisrael Achra Hashem Chova, and he's prayed again another one for the Chova one, which you have to repeat. But Avsha Tefillah Achiyuvas B'Tav and Tolasais, even though the obligation one was not with a mistake, and you have to repeat it. We don't say that he didn't pray at all. It's comparable as if he didn't pray at all. Then he's ever got to this. Mishum the Mikomakom, Beinshin Spalu. Yeah, because still when he's at the time he was reading the second, when he was praying the second one, with the Shlomo for the Shlomo, his man feel was the time of prayer. He started trying to pray. But then Kol Piyotim says similarly all cases like this. She spelled between the Rishon and the Tziva to Tava, then he made the first part of the obligation, he made a mistake in it. Shashak will hold it both in Shazar Chaz Lispala, he forgot or added something in a way that he would have to make him repeat and go back and pray. Also, because of Magan Gimor and the Magan Gimor writes, the Kol Zah and keep him a fair Shashniat Tashlum. Is all this to be intended specifically, and the second one for prayer, or for repayment. Now, but if he didn't have any intent at all, Tov Yosef Shatal L'Shem Kov. What is better would be is just he treat the second one as if it's for a Kova. He spell Lachach the Shlum and then pray again for the Shlum. The Bezay Yosef the Koladei, this few Yosef opinions. If you had no intent, and you just said, I gotta pray two. I don't know which one's which. So now treat the second one now as the first one. That was the obligation one. Let's do another one for the Shlum. Okay, the Mishnah and Berura says, Ta Nanas, he was made a mistake or he was forced. Ta means that he prayed. And he remembered, wait, I didn't. I forgot to pray. It says in some past. Because the Prima Gadol mice, and it's the fact that he suffix his Baal Shachos, although he had a suffix of, the Prima Gadol has a suffix. Let's say the person has a suffix if he prayed Shachos or no. But Abrasan Shachos, and he passed time with Shachos. In Mashlim and Mincha or lo. Do you repeat that in Mincha or not? He had a suffix about it. Hashem lo tiknu the Mashlim of Zmana, el b'vadable is foul below the suffix. Because maybe they didn't set up that he should do Shlomo when the time has passed, except in a for sure situation and not they didn't pray, and not in a suffix situation. Tablo is Mincha made a mistake and didn't pray. Mincha Mishpal Arvis time you do 2 marks. Harishona Arvis Vashniel is the first one is Marv, the second one is for Shlomo. Tablo is Bal Arvis made a mistake and didn't say Marv. Mishpal Shachos time he says Shachos 2 times. So Rishona Shachos Vashniel is Shlomo. The first one is Shachos, the second one is for Shlomo. La'achar Omer Yotzer, which one Esrei. After he said Yotzer and after Berachos Kriyashma, and he said Shmona Esrei, Berachos. Yomer Ashrei, Berachos Asrei function. Shmona Esrei should say Ashrei and afterwards say Shmona Esrei. The Tashlum Yarbis for the sake of Mariv, when he's doing Shachars. V'chein Kishim is Baal Arbish time similar when he's doing to Mariv, Mishum Shalo is Baal Mincha Yomer Ashrei Ben Tfilah Tfilah. Because he didn't say Mincha, then you should say an Ashrei between his prayers from there go. And then this is all from the Smack and the Rivash Simon Kuf Mem. Okay. Shachos there, Shtaim, 2 Shachos. But also the Achal called him Shispal Shni, it's also to eat until he prays the second one. Zakavar gives man authority to reach the time. Him his school, you know, Maxic, if he starts, he doesn't stop. I guess if he started eating. King Cousin Magna Ram says, I'll be safe from my to the Shachel, be safe from Magni Burim. However, the Master Shachel and the Magni Burim, if we had to feel be have a plastic, him, but he would have to stop eating. We should the Sarach with us, the Hasmech Hatzvila, Hashniel, Rishona, Bechomad Efshad. You have to put the second prayer next to the first one, whatever you're possible can do. After he says, Rotzalom means to say, Shlo Yapsik Levachila, Beinehem Bisham, we shouldn't have this separation between them. Any matters from the pre-Chodesh and the Lirab and the pre-Shah. Or if you look by Limud, Asr, even by Limud between the two would be Asr. This is from the Chayyodim. Ki Tfilas Shlomo Smicha Zayos Ba'och Ozi B'Tfilas Chayyodim. The replacement prayer has to be done while he's still dealing with the first obligation prayer. Mekomakom nearly it still seems to be the Chazar Shliel Tzibur Shal Tfilas Achiyubas, that the Chazar of the Shliel Tzibur of the obligation prayer, Mutter the Shmon Kodim, be able to hear that before you start saying the second Hashlam prayer. Zemek V'Yadayin also B'Tfilah, because this is still called dealing with prayer because you're hearing the repetition. And also in Zayin, look earlier in Zayin, Zayin Mashach Stav Nisham V'Alacha, we said there in the V'Alacha, or the same words, the name or the Ruach. Shmona Esrei brachos, the 18 brachos. What's the number of imatach nunim she'omer achazei? What does the supplication say after this? The ein lahavzik ben Shmona Esrei the tachanun. You shouldn't make a separation between tachanun, Shmona Esrei and the tachanun. Say the tachanun and then repeat afterwards. Say Ashrei and then repeat afterwards. This one the lech chamudus the Lasamid and the Eli Rabbim the Chayim and the Chayod. Okay. Yom Ashrei, the Ashrei. Kindel Amud Gam B'Tfilah the Shlumin Mitoch the Tach and the Tanchumin, or they should also have the Shlumin prayer in the midst of supplication, Shal Torah of Torah. This one the Taz and the Grove. Mekanal B'Sim Tani Gimel Sarel and Tani Gimel. Begam the Hubble Ab Hafli he had Sarah Chlomin Ashrei called him Amatzach was it also because even without this, you're going to have to say Ashrei before saying Lamatzach, so you might as well say it now and say the prayer after that. This is from the Gram, Volazion, and Volazion. Okay, Yomarna Ashrei below Yomer Achach. So just say it now, and I won't have to say it afterwards before Lamatzach and Volazion. Okay, this is the Lavush and Narsholim, Nagrab, I'm Primagon, Shikosav, the Kain Dash, our posting is also looking at the other posting, the Lokatas, not Lokatas. I'm back on Shishkim, look at the Akonim which agree. The who had in Hispal Minchas time, same thing with if you prayed 2 Minchas, for Shil Shlomo for the sake of Shlomo, Yomagam Kaid, Oda Pam Ashri, called him Shinfil Shneim, say it again the second time Ashri before the second prayer. This is from the Lavush and the Lastam, not the Svi, the Taz, the Lirava. You look back and not like the back of Magni Abram and the Magni Abram shade different by Manfa. Behold who rack with a Filah is only the Filah, but Medina and Sarkwa Saka Ben Filah. The Filah of Regini would need to make a separation to one prayer and the next. Rakadeli Lakar Amos just enough for 4 Amos. Moshe causes level Simon Kafkas, as we said earlier, and Simon Cafe, as we said earlier, Simon Cafe. This is from the Grub, the viewer in his explanation. Bain Tefillah, the Tefillah between the prayers by Marv, you would have to do. Yidei lahashlam b'zeh gam ashrei, shayitzorach momer kodem and in order to replace this, also the ashrei which you had to say before Mincha, you didn't say it, so you say that now after Marv. From the Shulchan Aruch Simon Reish Lamed Daled Sif Beis. V'yesh me'achronim shekosov b'shem ha'mekubalim, there's those say that me'achronim was right in the name of the Mekubalim, shlo l'mer ashrei b'arvis, you shouldn't say ashrei in Marv. This is from the Bach and the Magen Avram. Even though it's for Mincha, Gam Ken Yesh L'Hach Conversation should still be machmer about this. Because of the Derech Chaim, the ancient Adam Yin Hag B'Zeh Yesh Lo Amin Lesmach. However, a person asks on this, there is one would rely. Af Kol Zman Shu Yom Lo Yeman L'Milom Ashrei. As long as it's still day, you shouldn't hold back from saying Ashrei. Af Shehu Achar Tzilas Mincha. Even though it's after Mincha, but L'Maisa, it's still day. Okay, name is after of all the basic necessities. Therefore, if you're delayed and came to, if a person delayed and came to shul, Shasha Tibur Yiskil Tzvilas Mincha, the time of the congregation has already started Mincha. Yispali Mohem B'Yom Ashri Achach. You should pray with them and say Ashri afterwards. So even though it's going to be Marav, but it's not going to be completely the next day. That's when the Magen Avraham like Magen Biburim. But I'm Magen Avraham, look at the Magen Avraham. Shekaz was right. I mean, Dibri Azor Mashra Dafil Bof and Zel Yomar Nuvadai to the Chova. That's even this way, you shouldn't say in the way of an obligation to say Ashrei Rak Kor, but you should just say, I'm like, I'm reading the Torah, and therefore it's fine. But all the Mutter feel to be by harvest, and then it's supposed even by Marv. This from the grass. From the grass, you could say even in Marv that you're not doing it for Chova. Let's say the Berura. The Yim Hefok, if you did the other way, I've mentioned the Berura, the condition of Rosh, the Samdlin and Din that we stumbled in regards to Din, Kam Mechaber, like the Mechaber. The Chayin Agrab, the Ur, and similarly the Quran, his explanation, Shak Kisha, Mekor. Although when he copies over a source for this, Lo Heir Klala Kushis of Magen Avram, you didn't waken up at all for the question of Magen Avram. Marshal Lechor, the low severe lake of Magen Avram, Marshal Lechor is in the whole lake of Magen Avram. Without the Pasha of the Afghan, okay. Marshal Lechor, the low severe lake of Magen Avram, fine. Without the Pasha, you should know for simply, the Dafkim is Gavin, it's only if you specifically intended the head is the same specifically for the Shlomo. Avalim is spelled Shnei Mishlama, but if you said two of them for Stam, the Huli Amiyot, according to everyone, you'd be Yotzi just said, I'm praying once and I'm praying again. I don't know what I'm doing. It'll be okay. When it's Tapag the Imhiskul is Palos of Torah Shlomo, and I have a subject, if you started praying it for the Shlomo, but it's going to emphasis Shlima Karai, Shlima Karai, and you remembered the Mendel and you concluded it properly, the Hail Shem Pav meaning for Echova. Iman, if that works. My subject is the given the Kaiman, since we passed the whole brachas of tefillas al seder nemar, that all the prayers, the brachas in the prayer have to be in order. It'll come in some because you test seilan and some coffee test. After the echad shev idei zek echad, maybe we count as if like one topic. The lomahani akiris and machshava doesn't help to uproot the thought you've already have in the beginning. But I'm still in the common devar. We know in regards to many things. Masin the rak the shalosh from Shonas which was only the first ones are considered like three, the first three brachos. Actually, akiris machshava, it is possible in regard to uprooting the thought from them. Levan shani, just that thing alone would be different. And the by a man now let's explore it to prove from earlier, but Simon Kavav and Simon Kavav is alef. Im Hiskel is spelled if you started davening post kapil b'em bracha, you stop in the middle of the bracha. V'yisa b'rishonim matam, and the rishonim say the reason is that given shehiskel died to the chuvah, since you started with the obligation thought, ein yachol kaima sul and shem nadav, we can no longer keep it for the sake of an adava. The imkain who was in b'zev so to here. And the lo mahani akirat mashav wouldn't help to prove your doctor. They know I want this for a chuvah one. Zork lev so close to b'em, so you have to stop the one in the middle. Oh, ulai leinin tashlum hekil rabban, or maybe in regards to tashlum rabban or meko, zork lian in idien. Himmel. On the Mashlim Hans Vila Shahimsi Dafka Bisman Hans Vila. It's only this means replace the prayer which you lost. It's only in the time of prayer. Bashar Shain as Man Vila, but the time which is not prayer, then no. Bisman Vila. Mishmar says, Yesh Mechon Shekas Shirotzalam. Those are the Chronos it means to say. This is from the Malbushi Yom Tov and the Pre-Fathers. The low signal Chazal to Tfilas Shlomo, the Chazal only set up the prayer, the replacement player. Ragbo then also with Tfilas Akar, only when he's dealing with the first Iker prayer. Achos Shashaka de Hilas Arbam have to wait for 4 hours. Well, after him and the time we're saying after between them. Abu Harmi Achonim Eskim, many Achonim agree. After the Chila Bavadi Torah Lizar Bazad, even in the Chafiyah, we sure have to be careful about this. Will these spells feel Shlomo take up after Tfilas Chafiyah? And this is from the Mordechai and the Chayad and the Magiburim. And even the Chafiyah, for sure, you need to be careful about this to praise the replacement player immediately after the obligation one. I'll be the evidence in Ma'akiv Rak im of response. Feel but the evidence wouldn't be Ma'akiv except if it's time for prayer fast. Behind him, Lo Yispal Abris, Yispal Shach, which time. That means if you didn't pray Ma'ariv, you pray two Shachars, Rak Ad Arbo Shos Al Yom, just until 4 hours into the day. That's from the Prima Garden, the Chayam, and the Magavorm, the Lok Kayad. Shuzman and Tfilah Shachos, that is the prayer first. That's the time for prayer for Shachos. So note the love of Zeshkar, Tfilah, the man is taken for this prayer at the time for prayer in its time. Masha Ein Kain, after Rabbi Shabbos, which is not true after the 4 hours. And then note the Rak Sky Tfilah, Rachman is just taking the reward for Tfilah of mercy, which is not with the full prayer. And therefore you couldn't repeat at that time. King calls the Megadon, Supreme Megadon rights, and Magniburn, the Magniburn, the Chaim, the Chaim, Elisha, the Chaim, however, in the Chaim holds the Davar Chadish, he has a new thing. Shlomo Nizkru B'Shar Echonim, which was mentioned in the other Echonim, but who the Im Gam Tfilah Shach was Goof of voice Baal at after Rabbi Shos. If you missed even Shachris until after the 4 hours, you just woke up late. And Torah was Baal all this time, he has to make pray them too. Even Joel the Tfilah since she is dealing with Tfilah after 4 hours. Yom Shach was Baal Mincha, if we got to say Mincha, Yin Shom the Misfal Ar Ma'ariv Shtaim Rak Ad Chatzos. A lot of those say that you say do to Ma'ariv until only till Chatzos at night. Choose man a royal Aris with Kilo, that's the time for same Ma'ariv with Chavila. Ma'in Shom the Chaim Lefim and the Chaim Ash Stam Nol B'Zev the Halach. We say there further in the Halach. I'm the Prima Godin Paz, however, the Prima Godin might is man Ashlam Tfilah to Mincha, who call at the time of repeating Mincha is the entire night. Adam Shach until Shach. Vim Shach will spell Shachos. If you made a mistake and didn't say Shachos, Yishlosh Lamarak Me'is Shemaskilis Man the Milcha, just the time it starts Milcha. This is the Chaim. Mochas is Josh after Chatzos. This is a half hour after Chatzos. Namchi spelled Mincha. We call him Mishal Sadam Mincha before this, after this half hour. Nimshas Man Ashlam with the Avedaj Bein Shmashas, and this time is dragged on for repeating it is with the Avedaj until Bein Shmashas. Afilu Hayom Sheish, but most of it was the day which had most of its foul, most of them, and he made prayed most of in the middle of it. This is one of the Prima Gadim and Derech Chaim. And the time Shlomo feels Mincha, who Adam Shach until Adam Shach. Im Shach will his Baal Shach, in the garden in Shach, he just does it Shlomo Rak Meisha Maskalis Man Mincha just until it starts Mincha. It's only until he starts Mincha. This is from the Chaim. It's also a half hour after Chatos when you for really like a start. Mincha. V'gam she's called Mincha because we also have to say Mincha first. The interest man Shlomo b'diavad bein Shlosh the time that drags on the time repeating it b'diavad until bein Shloshos. But people higher yom sheesh, but most even if it was a day which had most of in it. This is from the Prima God Zerach Chaim. The spell must have been when you prayed most of in the middle of there would still be. I guess you could do the Shlomo after it, not a problem. Even if it goes mincha, most of Shlomo is fine. Kol zeh attacking min achron all is covered over from the achron ladina for the din. Amnam lechafila yosu tov yosu nachon b'chol zeh. However, for the din, it's better more nachon in this way. This is from the Eli Rabbah. Shimlo I'll take up tefillah. The Shlomo didn't pray immediately the Shlomo prayer. After tefillah, the chiv was after the obligation prayer. He follows the Torah Dava. He should pray that one. You should pray for an adava if you didn't do it right away. The Hainu Shiyat from Yom meaning you should stipulate and say, Imani Chayav Harizul if I'm obligated to make a Hashlama, then this is my obligation one for the Hashlama. V'im Lav Harizun in adava, and if not, then it's an adava. V'chein Nistim Prima Chad, V'gad Nistim Prima Chad, it's better to make a stipulation that if, since you didn't do it right away, that maybe this should be for an adava if it's not going to work. In Tashlumin El Tefillah is only Tashlumin for Tefillah. Dawud says Hasmuchim Le Bilvav, the prayer which is next to it alone. I mean only that one. Shim Tal Below Ispal Shachos. They made a mistake and didn't say Shachos but Mincha and didn't say Mincha. Mispal Irish time we just do two Maris. Achron is Tashlumin Mincha. After leader one is the Mincha. Abu Shachos and let Tashlum, but the Shachos and have Tashlumin B'chem B'shar Tefillah and lay all the prayers. Hasmuchim which is next to it. Chaz Achronim Shein Tefillah most of all the Shlama that the I want to write that most of it doesn't help for Ashlama. This is from the Prima Godim. The Hainu Shim Chis or Shachos Biyom Shish Mitzvah. That means if you miss out Shachos in a day where there's Musaf, Lo Yachal Hashlam is Baal Musaf. Shtaim is not able to make Ashlama to say two Musafs. And Shachos is Baal Musaf. If you got Shachos and prayed Musaf, and he couldn't just say two Musafs. By the time the Over's mind is Shachos and still hasn't passed the time of Shachos, Afilu Hachli Yisbal Shachos, still he should say Shachos. Even though he said Musaf already. Misha Shachos below Yisbal Shachos. One of them forgot and didn't pray Shachos and Musaf, and he didn't say Musaf either. Nitzka Mincha men do it at Mincha. Yisbal Mincha V'achor Musaf, we should say Mincha, and then he should say Musaf V'achor Shachos, and afterwards the replacement for Shachos. Yisbal Musaf Kodem Mincha, if he's prayed Musaf first before Mincha, that'll be fine. It'll be okay. Just miss the order, but everything's fine. Below Mincha, not a Mincha. He doesn't do for Mincha. V'hu adin afilu mispal Mincha gam kedlo yakol lahashtam verb over Shachris. And the same thing would be if he did pray Mincha. He didn't do Mincha. In this case, he didn't do Shachris or Mincha. Let's say, and then you could only do Marv too. But the same thing would be if you didn't do Shachris, you did Mincha, and you're now at Marv. You only do one. They're called the little things of Shlomo Rakos Ban Tefillah Shmukula. The style is they didn't set up a replacement except for the prayer which is next to it. It's from Prima Gadim. Him Ratza. Okay, he says in the Shulchan Aruch. Ababi she'ain Tashlumin El Tefillah Shmukula Tefillah. Even though there's only Tashlumin for the prayer which is next to that prayer. But Tefillah she'hevz in Ein Lo Tashlumin, and a prayer which you lost doesn't have a replacement prayer. In Ratza as well as on Adava. V'sheichadish Sham Davar Rishos Biyad. If he wants to add to pray for an adava and to add something into it, that would be he could do it. Imratza, the Mishnah verse says, U'lechein Mishnah Yachol is there for someone who was sick. This is from the Magen Avraham. Otavas b'tzvitzo, or was grabbed as a captive. V'lohaya makom, nothing in the place wasn't clean. K'sheitzi Yispal Kol Tefillah Shehifsid, when he goes out, he should pray all the prayers which he skipped, which he lost. Yispal Ma'ariv, and then he should pray Ma'ariv. Achor Kach Mincha, and afterwards Mincha, Achor Shachos, and then afterwards Shachos, just keeps going like that. This is one of the Prima Gadim. When we also mitzvahs of Rosh Chodesh, if he goes out from their captive in the Rosh Chodesh, Mazke Begulim Yalav Yavur, you mentioned in all of them Yalav Yavur as you're doing all these prayers. Avolim Yom Tov Shabbos Yom Tov. If you come out on Shabbos Yom Tov, Yom Tov on Erev Yisrael wait until the night to daven. The Kamelon B'Simukov Zayin, because we pass and later on Simukov Zayin Shein Mispal and the Dov B'Shem Shabbos Yom Tov. We can't say in the double prayer on Shabbos and Yom Tov. It's from the Grog Merbav and the Shari Tshuva and the Grass. Adkam.